Hello everyone, I hope you will enjoy this Russian film in English. It's read by professional voices. If you like it, write something in comments and I will reply and I will make more of this. So enjoy.
Grasshopper, a diafilm about Russian Civil War. Diafilm Studio 1970. This is a story about Alyosha Kuznetsov. Kuznetchik means grasshopper in English, who died during the October battles of 1917 at the Moscow barricades. He was 15 years old at that time. He grew up in a poor family. When he turned 10, his mother said,
"Well, son, I persuaded the shoemaker Mikhail Mikhaich. He takes you as a student. If you learn how to sew boots, you will become a man. We will live in prosperity."
but the owner of the workshop did not even think about studying. He forced the boy to chop wood, carry out garbage cans, run for water, and wash dishes. And if something went wrong, he dealt with Alyosha with his fists. When the master was not at home, apprentice Fyodor taught Alyosha to twist threads, sharpen shoe knives and awls, and chop wooden nails from a birch log. Once, when Alyosha was cleaning out the master's rugs at the porch, a street cleaner entered the yard with two gendarmes. The boy froze. Why would such guests show up?
Alyosha,
He heard someone's voice.
come here.
Fyodor stood outside the threshold.
This is for me.
He whispered.
Probably they will do a search.
But why?
Alyosha exclaimed.
You will know later. Now there is no time. There is a bucket with cleanings near the kitchen. I put 2 books and a bundle of papers in it. Pass it on to the student. Understood?
A week later, student Kostya appeared in the studio. Alyosha handed him the books and a bundle.
Is it true that our Fyodor was against the Tsar?
He asked the student.
True,
But why?
so that people like you live better. Well, goodbye, brother, thank you.
Who knows how much longer Alyosha would have worked for a shoemaker, but one day he came across a bunch of guys. They were running down the street and shouted, "War! War!" with the Germans. It was 1914. Alyosha did not return to the shoemaker. He began to go to the station, from where trains left for the front.
I wish I could go with the soldiers.
Alyosha dreamed.
I would fight.
Near the railway carriages, there was always a fuss. The soldiers loaded boxes, bales, dragged wagons and heavy wagons onto the platforms. Alyosha helped them. Soon Alyosha himself began to look like a little soldier. Someone gave him soldier's clothes for his zeal, and his mother sewed them to fit. With one military train, Alyosha still managed to go to the front. He said that he fell behind his regiment and now wants to catch up with them. So Alyosha remained with the soldiers of the 4th Company of the 85th Rifle Regiment, which was heading for Warsaw once a corporal entered the trench.
Gritsenko, Didov, Kuznetsov, to the secret.
This meant that Alyosha, along with 2 soldiers, needed to change the sentinels at the front posts, from where they will watch the enemy come on the front. No shots are heard. You might think that there are no Germans or Austrians nearby. Why crawl through the snow at night? But Alyosha is already an experienced fighter. He has been fighting for a year and a half. He knows how deceiving silence can be. Alyosha recalls how the soldier Didov said that the Germans and Austrians are the same people as the Russians. They only mutter in German.
Why are they attacking us?
Then one of the recruits asked.
They
Didov explained.
were driven by Wilhelm and their lords to the war, and the Tsar and our lords drove us. Whatever one may say, it turns out that the lords need a war. Soldiers for them get new lands with their blood.
Some leaflets went from hand to hand in the companies. Alyosha had heard that it was the newspaper of the Bolsheviks. Didov said the Bolsheviks stood up for the working people. It is difficult for Alyosha to figure everything out.
I'll ask Didov.
He decided,
But let's just get back from the secret.
but that night, in a shootout with Austrian scouts, Alyosha was wounded in the arm. For a week he lay in the regimental infirmary, and then, along with other wounded, he was placed in an ambulance train. Didov was on the same train. He was doing worse. The bullet pierced his lung. Alyosha covered him, served him a mug of water, brought the paramedic. When Didov felt better, Alyosha liked to talk to him. Didov answered in detail, and even asked Alyosha about his life. After such conversations, Alyosha's fists clenched.
Well, I tried everything. I chewed soldiers' stale crackers and sniffed gunpowder and even got Austrian lead as a keepsake. But what is all this for?
Meanwhile, the train approached the station, and the station is full of people. Everyone is shouting, singing, many are holding red banners, slogans. Long live the revolution! Down with the war! Alyosha got out of the carriage and immediately returned excited.
Well, what is there, son?
The wounded surrounded him.
There is a revolution in Petrograd. The Tsar was thrown down.
Alyosha blurted out. A month later, Alyosha was at home. His hand healed quickly, and now he was thinking about where to go to work.
Don't rush, brother.
Said the older sister Lena.
I will talk about this with someone.
And one day the door opened and a man appeared on the threshold.
Hello, soldier.
He said.
Fyodor, you are here.
Alyosha recognized him immediately. Fedor promised to arrange Alyosha in a wallpaper store.
Trade or what?
Asked Alyosha.
No, brother. We have ammo in the basement. You know, we will need it soon.
Fyodor stayed up late that evening at the Kuznetsovs. They talked about the war, about the provisional government, which only cares about the bourgeois.
Our time will come,
said Fyodor.
Just need a little more strength.
And the hour that Fedor spoke about has come. On October 25th, shots crackled in Moscow, barricades rose in the streets. Detachments of combatants went out to fight with the whites. That's when the cartridges from the wallpaper store were needed. Alyosha barely had time to stuff them into the bags with which the combatants came. When the cartridges ran out, Alyosha went to the detachment to Fyodor. They were building a barricade in one of the alleys, so as not to let the Junkers through to the main headquarters. Alyosha was also given a rifle and 2 clips. The next day, Lena took him to her flying sanitary detachment. Alyosha was on an equal footing with adults. He carried the wounded out of the shelling, bandaged the wounds, cheered. The warriors affectionately called him Grasshopper. 2 days later, Alyosha, together with Lena, again appeared at the barricade near Fyodor.
Well done.
Fyodor met them.
We really need medics.
And suddenly, Tratarta, the machine gun rattled. Alyosha looked around and saw a boy fall not far from the barricade. So he got up a little, crawled a little, and again buried his face in the ground. Wounded flashed through Alyosha's head. He rushed to the boy. Get back. They shouted to him, stop. But Alyosha had already run to the wounded. Lena ran up with a sanitary bag. The machine gun rumbled again. Lena was wounded in the leg. The bullets pierced through Alyosha's back and stomach. Alyosha did not regain consciousness for a long time. And when he opened his eyes, he saw Fedor next to him.
Lena, is she alive?
Alyosha asked.
She's alive, brother.
Is the barricade standing?
Yes, brother.
Let it stand.
Yes, Alyosha, it will stand.
But Alyosha heard nothing. His heart stopped beating. It happened on November 1st, 1917. And the barricade stood for another 4 days. Then it was disassembled. It was no longer needed. Revolution won in Moscow. The end. Thanks for your attention and subscribe for Alex the Storyteller channel.